Hello, I'm Mr. Tobias from Edukea Tanzania. We are proceeding with our subject of economics in our topic of financial institutions, in our subtopic of commercial banks, and here we are looking about the different types offered by these commercial banks in East Africa. And we are proceeding with the features of the fixed deposit account as we discussed in the last session, but now we are concluding these features, then we proceed with the next part. Now, another feature of fixed deposit account is that the account holders are issued with a receipt which they must present to withdraw their money at the expire of the deposit period. So we know that when now the people have made deposit of some amount of money into these financial institutions like commercial banks in East Africa, now when it reaches a time they want to withdraw their money from these banks, it means now they are required now to issue a receipt which must present to withdraw their money at the expire of the deposit period into these commercial banks, as the money are being posted into the fixed accounts deposit. Next feature of the fixed deposit account is that the deposit accounts are opened with a specific amount. It means now there is a specific amount that is deposited by the account holders. It means the known account. If it is 100,000 Tanzania shilling or 50,000 Tanzania shillings are being deposited, it means they have to be known. Now, for a specific period of time, it means that the amount of money deposited now must be known, but also the period of time by which the money will be withdrawn by the account holder must be specific. If it is 6 months or 1 year or more than 2 years and etc., but the time must be specific, and no further deposit or withdrawals are allowed till the expire of the period. So when the deposit has been made into this fixed deposit account, it means no further deposit or withdrawal are allowed before the expire of the period of the account that has been opened by the account holder. So after we have seen these features of the fixed deposit account, now we are going to look the next type of accounts offered by these commercial banks in East Africa and to the other countries. So here the third type of account offered by these commercial banks is the current account. Now these accounts are offered by commercial banks only and are basically for business people and large companies or organizations. So these current accounts now are the type of the accounts that are offered by only the commercial banks, and these are special for business people and large companies or organizations. This type of accounts now are opened by businessmen. It means that the people who are engaging in business. So the people now who are not interested or who are not engaging in business, it means now they are not allowed to open this type of account. Also, the large companies or organizations or different institutions are the ones who are allowed to open this type of accounts into these commercial banks, but not private people who are not either in organizations or different companies, or people who are not engaging in different businesses. So there are characteristics of this current account. Now, characteristics of the current account are as follows. First, a customer is required to make a minimum initial deposit at the time of opening the account. So there is a need now for a customer to deposit the required minimum initial deposit at the time of opening the account. So the account is not opened without having a required minimum amount of money to be retained into the account in order to make the account active. It means every commercial bank have got its level of minimum amount of deposit that is needed now for the account holder to be deposited in order to allow now or to activate the account to work. It can be maybe 10 Tanzania shillings in CRDB, but at the same time it can be maybe 20 Tanzania shillings in CRDB bank. So it depends now on the type of commercial banks where the account holder needs to open this type of account. So every type of commercial banks has got its own minimum level of deposit that requires now the account holder to deposit in order to open the account. Also, no minimum balance is required to be maintained. So as we have seen in the other types of account offered by these commercial banks, like in saving account, but also in fixed deposit account, where there is a need for a certain minimum amount or balance that is required to be maintained into those types of account. Now, in this type of account, there is no minimum balance is required to be maintained. This means that the account holder may withdraw all his or her deposit. So, in this type of account now, the account holder now is able to withdraw all his or her deposit. It means there is no restrictions now. Maybe a certain amount of money or balance is required to be retained into the account so that to make his or her account active, as how we have seen in the fixed deposit account and in saving accounts which are opened within these commercial banks in East Africa and to the other areas in the world. So in this type of account that in current accounts, there is no need now, or there are no minimum balance is required to be maintained to the holder of the account now to be kept into his or her account. It means now people are free to withdraw all their money from these types of the accounts. But also, money can be deposited at any time in any form. Now, in this type of account, that in this current account, money can be deposited at any time in any form. Now, this businessman, these institutions or organizations who are allowed to make or to open accounts in these commercial banks as in current accounts. Now, money can be deposited at any time in any form. It means now the people now who are allowed to open this type of accounts into these commercial banks have got a chance now to deposit their amount of money at any time. It means there is no restrictions, as we have seen in a fixed deposit account, that the account holder soon after opening and making the initial deposit of some amount of money into these commercial banks, now the account holder is not allowed to make further deposit, even to make withdrawal of his or her balance into these commercial banks. Now, in this type of accounts opened by these commercial banks, now money can be deposited at any time by the account holder. But also another feature is that withdrawal can be made at any time, as we have seen in a fixed deposit account, that there is no further with deposit but also withdrawal which is allowed to be made by the account holder before the expire of the account deposit. But in this type of account, it means withdrawals can be made at any time. It means now the account holder, as we have seen, is that the businessman, but also organizations or institutions. So these now are free now to withdraw their money, or even to withdraw all their money at any time. It means there is no fixed time for them to withdraw some amount of money from their accounts. That's why these types of accounts are made special for this businessman and different companies, because businessmen are the people who are engaging in different activities like trade and making different transactions. So if they have deposited some amount of money into the banks, but when they feel that maybe there is price devaluation, but they have got the high amount of money into these commercial banks, they can withdraw their money in order to purchase goods and services in order to create more profit. So this is another feature of these current accounts that are opened by businessmen and organizations into commercial banks in East Africa, for example in NMB Bank, NBC Bank and CRB Bank. Also, the account holders are allowed to are allowed to overdraw their accounts. Now in the fixed accounts, the account holder are not allowed to overdraw their accounts, but in these current accounts, it means now the account holders are allowed to overdraw their accounts. So this is difference from the fixed deposit account, where there is no chance for the account holders to overdraw their accounts. Also, this type of accounts, they issue checkbooks to the customers, which are used for withdrawing money from the bank. We have seen in the other types of accounts that there is provision of checks. Also, even in these types of accounts now, there is provision of checkbooks to the customers, which are used for the withdrawing money from the bank, as these checkbooks now contains the details or the data for the account holder, maybe the amount of money that has been deposited, about the interest for the amount of money deposited, but even in the period of time when the deposit was made and when the withdrawal was made. So these banks now provide checkbooks to the account holders when they have opened this type of accounts into these commercial banks. So also the bank's customers are issued with bank statements at the end of each month. So the bank's customers are being given the bank statements at the end of each month. So at every end of each month now, the bank now provide or inform or give details about the the process now of learning the accounts that have been opened by the account holders. So at each end of the month now, the banks now provide the statements to the bank customers in order to make them aware about how the banks now is learning, even the amount of money that have been deposited, how is or the general situation of the bank, to be aware to the bank customer. But also, no interest is paid on a deposit. Instead, the account holder is charged a fee as bank charges. So when now the account holder is just depositing some amount of money into the banks, now there is no interest that is charged to the account holder by these commercial banks. Maybe or instead the account holder is charged a fee as bank charges. So in this type of accounts now there is a fee. It means the literal payment that is made by the account holder to the banks as the fee for their savings that has been made into these banks. Now let us look how to open a current account into these commercial banks as is made by different people in East Africa and the other areas into the world. Now, in order to open a current account, one has to first apply. It means there is a special application now that is made by a person who needs to open this current account into these commercial banks like NMB, CRB and other types of banks. So there is a need now for a person to apply for making or for opening the account into these banks. The applicant is usually required to fill in forms provided by the bank having the following information. Now the applicant now must find out the forms which are provided from these commercial banks. If the applicant needs to open an account in NMB bank, it means now the applicant must find the forms which are provided by NMB bank. If the applicant needs to open an account into CRB bank, he or she must find the forms which are provided by these CRB banks. So these forms now contains different informations as follows. First, specimen signature, which will be used by the account holder whenever he or she withdraws money. It means now within this form there are different informations which needs to be filled by the person who wants or who needs to open his account. Where first here it is a specimen signature. It means a signature of the account holder that will be used by the account holder when he or she wants to withdraw money from the bank. So this is made in order to prevent now safety. It means other people can pretend as the owners of the account, then they can try maybe to sign in order to get the amount of money that has been deposited into the bank. That is why now there is a need now to provide or to create a signature which will be used by the account holder whenever he or she withdraws money from these commercial banks. So this is one among the information that is needed to be filled in the form for the account holder now to activate or to create an account into these commercial banks. But also customers' postal address for future correspondence. So there is a need now for the account holders or the person who wants to be a customer to a particular commercial bank. There is a need now for a customer to put now his or her address for future correspondence. It means if there is a need for contacting or communication between the bank and the bank customer, it means there is a need now to have an address of the account holder or a person who needs now to open the account into these commercial banks. So a person who is applying to open an account into a bank must indicate his or her address for future correspondence. Also, customers' occupation. Now, about customers' occupation, it means that there is a need now to indicate the occupation of a customer. If he or she is employed into an institution, but also he can be or she can be employed into organizations or into the government. Now there is a need now to indicate the occupation of the customer in order to provide clear information to the commercial banks to identify maybe this customer occupies a certain type of occupation into a country. This can help even to understand maybe the level of deposit that is being made by the customer, because you can find a person is jobless but he or she is making deposit of huge amount of money, but there are people who have got who occupy certain jobs into the government but cannot afford to make huge deposit of money into these commercial banks. So that's why there is a need to indicate or to fill the customer's occupation in order to provide a clear chance for the banks to understand well about their customers. Also, the applicant of the current account will need 2 witnesses who should be customers of that bank. So then there is a need now for the applicant to have 2 witnesses. It means the people now who are supporting now or who are going to assist or to provide more information about the person who is demanding now to open this current account into these commercial banks. And all these 2 witnesses must be the customers of the particular bank. If a person needs to create or to introduce these current accounts into CRDB Bank, it means now a person must find the 2 customers who are already registered into this CRDB Bank in order to be as witnesses to a new customers to be registered or to open the current accounts into these CRDB banks, but not witnesses who are non-members of the commercial bank. Now, after we have discussed about the features of the current accounts which are offered by these commercial banks in East Africa and other parts of Africa and the world in general, let us shift to the next part where now we are going to look how to deposit money in the current account, because as there are different types of accounts which are being offered by these commercial banks. Now, even in how to deposit the money into these accounts differs. Now, let us look how now a person can deposit money into these current accounts in commercial banks. A person wishing to make a deposit must fill in a document called a pay-in slip. So a person must provide or fill the document that is called paying slip. So this paying slip now guides how to initiate or to create now this current account to a new customer who has got the qualifications to introduce the current account. Now, some banks provide separate pay-in slips for cash and check deposit. So some banks now provide separate pay-in slips for cash and check deposit. So we know that there are different types of. Now, after we have seen how to deposit money in the current accounts, let us end up our session here. But we have got a question that states that explain why the non-businessmen are not allowed to open current accounts in different commercial banks. As we have seen, one among the features of these current accounts that the non-businessmen are not allowed to open this type of accounts except the businessmen and different companies and institutions. Welcome in Edukea company. For more learning, we shall meet in next time.